What is happening, my Cinema Lemon Nation? Today we're going to be discussing some more Scream 7 shit, but I want to keep this video short, sweet, and simple, and not dig too deep into it because, you know, I do like to have a little bit of different controversies, you know, kind of diving into all of this shit. But I like to have a lot of different types of opinions on what's going to actually happen with the Scream series, and I am, to be honest, extremely frustrated, and it is getting to the point where I'm like, what the fuck is even going to happen now? But here we go, let's dive right into it. Okay, so diving straight into it. Reading this article, the departure of Barrera has put an end to Sam's storyline. What does this mean? Well, let me tell you. What I think this means is that we are going to get a Scream movie with none of the core four in it. And that is going to be okay, because Paramount could possibly sell the rights to another studio, and we can get a movie that actually gives us a perspective of what can happen to legacy characters after their time is up. And to be honest, I do believe that we are going to get into a new territory of Scream, and it's not going to be the same as it used to be. That is just my full opinion there. But it would also be interesting to see how Scream 7 sets itself apart as a piece of meta commentary. I love that line. I love it because the whole meta aspect has been a part of Scream for so long. I think that bringing that out and kind of coming in with a new type of feeling for it is something cool that we can explore. Now, I'm not saying get rid of the past. Now, I'm not saying burn the past. I'm not saying pull a Ryan Johnson, but I do want to say that we can definitely put something together that continues the Sidney Prescott story with new characters, you know, a bloodline. And I think that that is an interesting aspect because, you know, there's so many different stories you can make with a Ghostface killer. You can even restart and make new characters like they did with the Scream TV series. And, you know, that's something I can definitely see happening. But let me put it this way. When it comes to putting in different directors, like let's start there with different directors. Scream has always been that part where you've had one director and it's been consistent every single time. And there hasn't been anything left behind because that director knows what the fuck to put into it and just keep feeding it so it grows and grows and grows. And Wes Craven did that. He did that with Kevin Williamson by his side. He did that. But you're asking from Scream 5 to Scream 6, you had two directors. Not one new director, two. And sometimes when there's two directors, it can imbalance the effects of what the movie is supposed to be projecting to the audience, and it can lose a lot of feeling to it, which I believe Scream 6 was that. Scream 6 was us losing that feeling of what Scream is truly about. I didn't get that feeling in Scream 6. It just wasn't good. It wasn't. It had so many points that it lost for me, and that was specifically Detective Bailey, who was obviously the killer of the entire movie. He gave himself away when Kirby's phone rang in the police station, and he kind of looks down real quick, and I was just like, I literally whispered over to my wife. I was like, he's the killer. And she just started laughing because she knew I was right. I mean, I didn't know any spoilers. I didn't see anything. Now, I did know Quinn could have possibly been the killer because I did slip my mind that at some point, you know, that she was the killer. But I didn't fully read it. People were just putting shit online, so I got off social media completely for like 2 weeks, so I wouldn't see anything that happened. But guys, this source has given out so much stuff, and I appreciate Screen Rant kind of, you know, projecting what's known and what isn't and all that kind of stuff. There are a few sources on Twitter too that I follow that give out some pretty good shit, and it's appreciated. But the one thing I will say that I would love to see for future installments is give us a complex story. No returning characters. Do not bring back Stu. Do not bring back Billy Loomis. Let that go. It's in the past. It happened in the past, right? Things need to move on eventually. And I think that that'll really, 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 really help the effects of the future of Scream and slasher films as a whole, because there's so many slasher films that have come out recently that are just shit, you know? They're absolute dog shit. And it frustrates me to gain more of that perspective of like what is actually going to be going on during these films for a specific reason, a certain plot point that you can, you know, miss here and there. And Scream 6 was that missing point. I think Scream 3, in my opinion, had a lot of things in there too, but it was entertaining. It was still entertaining. And I do believe that as a filmmaker myself, you know, as an indie filmmaker, I haven't directed my first feature film yet, but I've directed quite a few short films. And my most recent film, Beautiful, that I was on, and I shot that film in 3 or 4 days. It's like 18, 19 minutes, and that includes credits. But listen to me here. When I was shooting that film, it was like me coming on with an original idea, you know. And my idea was, what if you brought Lord of the Rings, Alfred Hitchcock's Rebecca, and Psycho into a modern day setting and just combined those 3 stories? And it's kind of like how I came up with Beautiful. And when I was on that set, I was consistently thinking, what is the audience actually going to appreciate on screen? Like, what are these particular shots going to even mention? Like, artistically speaking, what is going to be intriguing to the audience's eye? It's not fully the story. Sometimes it's what you see visually on the screen that helps the audience, you know, build up that love for it. But it also has to have a complex story. Very simplified story that isn't too much thinking, because you don't want the audience to overthink shit. You just want to present it to them and show them on screen, because that's the point, right? Is to show them on screen. I hope that they do that with Scream 7 and fulfill something that's actually, you know, useful. But it's definitely one of those things that I have a struggle with, and that's, you know, putting too much detail into one perspective of like what you can actually do in a slasher franchise. How much more can you actually do? And Ghostface has ran its time. You know, I appreciate how long Ghostface has been on the screen, and if they decide to drop the project as a whole and wait another fucking decade to make more Scream movies, sure, go ahead. You know, I waited a decade since Scream 4. Can wait another one for Scream 7, Scream 8. But guys, that is mostly what I have to say today about all of this. So don't forget, leave a like, subscribe to the fucking channel, man. It's great shit, man. It's great shit. I'm definitely gonna be talking about a little. Can't talk. Definitely gonna be talking a little bit more about some Scream 7. You know, I have a few more videos I'm going to be pushing out, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to, you know, chat with you guys about what's actually going to be, you know, happening in the future of Scream. And so I'm also getting into the Terrifier films a lot more. I rewatched the first one a couple nights ago, and it was fucking great. It was like terrifying to actually see it on a bigger screen too. I watched it downstairs on my giant theater screen. My projector screen, and it was awesome. You know, just all those blood, all that gore, it's just great. But, you know, recently watched Scream 2022 again, and, you know, I like that movie a lot. I think Radio Silence did a great job. Spyglass and Paramount did a great job with that one. But guys, that is all I have for you today. Leave a like on this video, subscribe to the Lemon Nation if you haven't already, and of course, never forget that lemons fly.